Guys, we're about to jump into if you're going to get started with Google Ads, whether it be YouTube, Google search, whatever it is that you might be trying to get into there. One of the first things you're probably going to ask yourself is, who do I target? How do I find people that are going to buy my stuff?
Yep.
And that's what this training is about. So we're going to go over audience research, targeting, and yeah, just excited to get into it. So Dakota's going to share your screen and we'll dive in.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and before I share my screen, I'm going to give a little history update on Google Ads, kind of what's changed recently, because it's really applicable. There's been a lot of people talking about the recent changes with the targeting, specifically for YouTube ads. So as you guys know, we run a ton of YouTube ads. Basically, a YouTube ad, if you don't know, is a video that pops up in a YouTube stream that's an advertisement, gets people to click a link. In the past, YouTube ads, there's been a lot of different ways to get your ad in front of the right people. Basically, you were able to use things like keywords, which keywords, very simply put, are like what people put into the search bar, right? Both in YouTube and in Google. We used to be able to do keyword searches for ad targeting for YouTube. They took that away very recently. They also took away some other stuff like similar audiences, which is basically their version of like a Facebook lookalike audience. That's going away. Can't do that anymore. And they also took away topic-based targeting, which is kind of a smaller thing, but another subset of a way that you could target people on YouTube. So since that stuff is all going away, people are a little bit nervous because a ton of people were using keywords really heavily as part of their targeting strategy on YouTube. And they were seeing a ton of success using keywords over the last 2, 3, 5, 10 years, right? Now that that's not an option, what we're going to be talking about today is what can you do instead of keyword-based targeting, and is it doing as well, right, for us right now in account. So that's kind of what we're getting into. So the number one thing that I will say that you should be doing instead of keyword-based targeting for YouTube ads is you should be testing out custom audience segments, and that's what I'm about to get into. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like inside of Google Ads, how to create a custom audience segment, how to create this thing so that you can actually, profitably run ads, not just, run ads into the ground, right? It's very important. So here we go. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me click a couple buttons here. Overview, Google Ads, boom. All right, so this is kind of the home screen of Google Ads. This is just a test account here that we have for AdClass. So there's not a ton of data in here, but what I wanted to show you inside of this account is the audience manager. So you're going to click here on tools and settings. And then after you click tools and settings, you're going to get all of the fun stuff that Google has at your disposal once you're running ads. But the one that we're going to be focusing on today is the audience manager. So I'm going to click into there. Once you're into the audience manager, you're going to see 3 different tabs, right? You see your data segments, you see custom segments, and you see combined segments. Today, the main thing we're going to be focusing on is custom segments. But before we get there, I just want to give you a quick overview of what your data segments are. So these data segments here, this is basically owned data by you that you either upload or add to Google Ads for use in advertising. So what that means is, if let's say you have a list of people, that have purchased your product or that have engaged with your business in some sort of way. So, think about like your email list as an example. You can put all of those people into a spreadsheet and upload them into Google Ads, right? And so what that would allow you to do is a lot of cool things. But first and foremost, it would allow you to retarget or exclude those people from your ad campaign. So, and before you do anything, that's kind of the first piece that you're going to want to do. So some of these are pre-made by Google. They're going to basically keep track of people who convert, in your funnel based on the conversion tags you've set up. They're going to keep track of people who have visited the pages that are tagged with the Google conversion snippets. But you can also add in people. Like you can upload a list of purchasers, or you can upload a list of just email opt-ins as an example. The way you would do that is you would just click the plus button, go into customer list, and you would drop it here. So that's kind of the first step, is that you do want to have as much data as possible added into Google Ads from your company, from your business, because there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that down the road.
So really quick before we move on, Dakota, like what would be, if someone was trying to like get started with, okay, what data should I be uploading? What are maybe like the top 2 or 3 things that you would tell them as like, hey, if you have this, like upload that list to Google?
Absolutely. The first one would be literally your entire list. Like upload your whole list, right? And the reason for that is like you want to basically exclude your list from future cold advertisements that you do. What I mean by that is like, let's say there's 1,000 people that have opted into your list to basically learn about your business. Maybe they went on to purchase, maybe they didn't, but either way, they're in your email list. Those people are already part of your community. You don't really want to spend new advertising dollars targeting them. So you're going to upload that list at the beginning, and then in all of your campaigns, you're going to exclude those people from seeing your ads. What that does is it saves you money on, repeat, repetitive ads, right? People seeing your ads tons of times who are already on your list or they're already your customers. So that's number one. Number two, I would also do the same thing for just customers, people who have bought from your business, because what you're going to want to eventually do is retargeting. You're eventually going to want to put a different ad in front of people who have engaged with your business in some way, but have not gone on to buy. And so what you can do then is like, let's say you're going to send an ad just to everybody that's already on your email list, excluding the people who have bought, right? And you're just trying to get them over that ledge, get them to become a purchaser. Those are the two main ones I would say at the beginning. There's other ones we could go into, but for Google Ads, I would start there for sure.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, there are these similar audiences here. These are going away, unfortunately, but these used to get automatically created when you would upload lists into Google Ads. So this is not an advantage anymore. But what is happening now is that once you upload lists into here, Google kind of uses that data to help you with optimized targeting and help you with certain other campaign types like Performance Max. So, it's good to have data in there, even if you can't necessarily use it to your advantage right away. Dope. So the question is, if you cannot use keyword campaigns, how the heck are you going to find customers, right? And so the main thing here is that there's a whole new, it's not really new, but a lot of people are finding out about it for the first time. It's a type of audience called custom segments. So custom segments is basically, a place where you can create audiences to target in your ads based on a few different parameters. So the options you have when creating a custom segment, all you have to do is click this plus button here. The options you have are the following. You can type in basically a product or an interest or anything at all, a brand name, and you can call this basically a purchase intention. So the first option, people with any of these interests or purchase intentions. And here's what it describes this as. Enter keywords describing your ideal customer's interests or products and services that they're actively researching to buy. Your ads are going to reach people with those interests or purchase intentions based on your campaign settings. So as an example, let's just take a theoretical. Caleb, what's our company that we're going to be advertising for here?
A shoe company.
All right. So we're selling shoes. Let's say we're like, the new up and coming Nike competitor, right? What we would do here with purchase intentions is we would just go down here into this bar and we could go basically Nike shoes, right? I'm just going to type it in. I'm not going to push enter yet. It's going to start putting different types of Nike shoes here as suggestions. So let's just say we have, an Air Force One type knockoff. Nike Air Force One sneaker. I can add that in here. And now that is a purchase intention that this campaign or that this custom segment is going to be pulling from. Already you can see over here, it's telling me how big this segment is, and it's telling me more about these people. So impressions on a weekly basis, there are 10 billion to 1 trillion impressions within this audience. In other words, it's huge. It's primarily male, 63% male, and it's primarily young people, 18 through, 34, basically. Mostly they're not parents, and mostly they're interested in athletic shoes, footwear, and apparel. So you can start to get an idea right now for how good this really is, right? So let's just stick with this one. Let's say Air Force One sneaker. And I'm gonna put a little thing before this that's PI, which means purchase intention. I just want to know that that's the type of one that I did.
Before you move on really quick, Dakota, sorry to jump in, but for those of you guys that are watching right now, just understand how powerful this really is. And if you're currently running like Facebook ads or Instagram ads, or you're trying to figure out, okay, like how do I get into Google or YouTube? This is the power and why so many people love running ads on Google and YouTube, because Google has the purchase intent data that a lot of these other platforms just do not have. So this is where Google is light years beyond a lot of the other platforms, because you can see exactly what people are actively searching for in the moment. And so I don't know, that like that's just a huge thing. If you haven't considered doing Google ads or YouTube ads, this is a perfect example of why they're so powerful.
Yeah,
So.
compared to Facebook, the like just sheer ability to target anything is so much stronger on Google, especially because they know what everybody is searching for. Not only on Google, but on YouTube and any other website that they, own. They know that you're interested in Air Force One sneakers, therefore it's so much easier to target. Right.
When you go to buy anything, think about it. Are you searching? Where do you go? You search on Google, or maybe you go on YouTube to see if someone has a review or something, right? The two biggest websites, and they have all the data, right? So this is an example of how that works. So cool.
Exactly. All right, so I'm going to create this segment first, but this isn't good enough. I don't want just this one. That's just a purchase intention one. Let's stick with like Nike sneakers, but let's do another one here. So if you didn't want to do purchase intention, and maybe you wanted to do something else, there's an option to do people who searched for any of these terms on Google. So this is much more similar to a keyword search. What they say here is enter the search terms your ideal customer is using on Google. Your ads will reach people who search for those in similar terms only on campaigns running on Google properties. So in other words, this is similar to purchase intention, but this is actually, it's not taking it quite to the finish line. So it's much more like top of funnel search heavy, right? And so here, maybe instead of thinking about who people, here, let me rephrase this. Instead of thinking about people who are trying to buy Air Force One sneakers, this might be more so like a question term where people are trying to figure out what sneakers to buy, right? And so for here, the question could be reviews of Nike Air Force One, right? Something like that. See if that pulls through. It's calculating over here. There you go. So this is similar but different, right? This one has 57% male. This one is actually a little older of an audience and a little bit, more highly percentage of parents here. So it's interesting because it's a similar query, but it's a totally different audience so far, and it's smaller as well. So this is something that like maybe since this one's a bit smaller, I would also throw in another term here. I would say, okay, Nike Air Force One versus, if it tells me anything here. Okay, nothing here, but I'm just going to do versus Adidas. Let's see what that does. Cool. Now it's 500 million to 1 billion. Now all of these metrics changed a little bit slightly, right? So you can kind of see what layering these can do as well. So that's pretty cool. It's totally different, something to test. People might say, hey, I tried custom segments, they didn't work. That's just not possible with this amount of data unless they just didn't test enough things, right? There's so many ways that you can layer this on and change things to make your ads profitable. Let's say we don't want to do this. Let's instead look at the other options we have. This third one is really cool. So I'm going to get rid of that second one. This third one is people who browse websites similar to, and then you put in a website here. So for this one, it says enter website addresses that your ideal customer might visit. Your ads will reach people who browse websites similar to the URLs you enter. Note, this does not mean that your ads will show on those URLs. Yeah. So if we went to Nike, oops, one second. I'm going to just open a new tab really quick. I'm going to find their website, Nike Air Force Ones. I'm going to click through and go to their actual sales page for it. Cool. So that's the sales page. I'm going to see if that pulls through. It might just pull the Nike domain, but I'm curious to see what it does here. Yeah, so that one's too specific.
Too specific.
Just Nike.com. Okay, interesting. It's still not going to give us any information. Could just be a privacy thing, which is totally fine. I do think this would still serve. But there might be a better website. Let's see. Foot Locker. Foot Locker might be a really good one. right? If
Yep.
I'm selling sneakers similar to Air Force One online, I think Foot Locker would be a really strong website. Up here, I'm going to just do URL footlocker.com.
Yeah, and it might just be a thing too, where like obviously, like you said, it's going to serve, but it just might not be giving you the analytics because Google's like not pulling the similar site stats so like quickly enough to display.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But so think about it this way. Now I have 2 custom URL segments. These are things I could test in the ads in 2 different places. And these ads basically are going to be going in front of people who have either a very high purchase intention for a specific sneaker that is a direct competitor of my brand, my fake brand in this case, or somebody who's visited footlocker.com, who in my mind, you could really narrow down the demographic of who goes to that website if it's relevant to your offer. So what's really cool about this is that your creativity, your ability to figure out audiences is literally the only thing stopping you from finding the right people out there, right?
Yep.
So now the question becomes, Caleb, where should I go to get more creative with what types of things I should put into here, right? Like how should I be thinking about this? And that probably comes back to audience research, which I know we've done trainings on before, but maybe really quickly we could jump into a couple tools there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to kind of like think through, okay, so now we know how to upload like custom segments and purchase intent, but once I run out of what's up here, how do I know what else is going to work, right? So, and just one thing I wanted to add there too, while we're talking about this, is the ability to target competitors. That's so huge, and it's something that again, Facebook and these other platforms aren't doing, right? You can't just go on to Facebook and say, hey, target my exact competitor. You know what I mean? You can say maybe interested in other things, but like it's just so not there compared to what you can do on Google. So imagine that if you've got an offer, right? Let's say that maybe you're a health coach, right? And you help people lose weight or whatever it is. You can go on Google and type in websites of other coaches that help people lose weight. And Google's going to basically look at that traffic and say, hey, all these types of people go to these other websites. I'm going to try to send them to you too. Right. And that's just so huge and so powerful. But yeah, would love to kind of jump into that. Dakota is like, how do I find those competitors, right? Like, what can I do?
So the first tool that I would recommend, it basically is like a keyword research tool. So although we're not technically using keyword campaigns here, keyword research tools are still going to be like one of the best ways to get ideas for what to target. So I'm going to share my screen here on one called Ahrefs. This is basically, it's a premium tool. You have to pay for this one, but this tool here is a really good place to start for keyword research and competitor research. So one thing, let's just stay on the same topic, I guess, with the Nike Air Force One. So I'm literally just going to like type that in, right? And push enter. And it's going to tell me a ton of stuff about Air Force Ones. Okay, so let's see just top level what it tells us. First off, it's a hard keyword, which means there's a lot of search volume for this. If you were trying to SEO this, you would need a bunch of backlinks and you would need like 84 websites to be 84 websites because they rank highly in this, right? So first off, that's a bad thing for SEO, but it's actually a pretty good thing for what we want because we're going to use this as, basically a starter for ad audience. Now, what I love about this tool is that it breaks down a bunch of different search queries that are similar to it based on data. So you might want to get more specific with the type of term. If you wanted, to get more specific and you wanted to see how people modified this term, they add in certain things like 07 or shadow or women or mid, and you can see the actual search volume for those terms, right? So if you wanted to get very specific, that's your first option. This one, which I think is super dope for the second type of audience, which was the keyword-based audience, is just questions that people ask about Air Force Ones, right? So how to clean them, how to tie them, how to lace them, where to buy them. If let's just picture for 1 second, right, that somebody maybe didn't buy their Air Force Ones online, right? They didn't use Google to buy them. That means that Google doesn't know that their purchase intention is Air Force Ones. Let's say they went to Foot Locker in person and bought Air Force Ones. How could we find those people? Well, they weren't tracked online, but they're probably Googling questions like how to clean my Air Force Ones or how to tie my Air Force Ones or lace them, right?
Yeah.
So now you start thinking, oh, shoot, maybe Google doesn't know that they purchased them, but it does know that they own them, right? Based on these search terms. So, it's mind blowing, honestly, the level of like detail that we could get here. That also ranks for, these things. These are other big searches. And then here's what's really cool for competitors, right? People who are searching Air Force Ones, they're also talking about Nike, Louboutin, the city of Los Angeles, right? Shoes. So let's just take one of these as an example. Let's say that the sneaker company that we're running is super high brand, okay, or like highbrow. It's like, a premium product. Let's say we know that our customers really like, Nike Air Force Ones, but they're also like really just premium, high level product people. What could we do with that information? I'm going to reshare my screen. I'm going to go back to Google now that we've kind of done a little bit more research. Okay. I'm going to go back into our custom audience segments. And now I think I want to make one for Louboutin. I think I want to make one for, a premium brand that basically is part of what we, what our potential persona looks like. So I'm going to do purchase intentions for Louboutin. I'm going to see what pops up here. There we go. 63% male, mostly, youngish people, mostly not a parent. They like handbags, purses, fashion designers. All right, cool. I know it's looking at what I wanted it to look at. Luxury goods. Cool. I'm going to save this. Now you might be asking, what about like how do we refine down, right? In this hypothetical scenario, we have a shoe brand. It's really high-end premium shoes. They're kind of like Air Force Ones. People that wear Air Force Ones love them, but they're also really luxury. Okay, I want to find those people. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to this tab called Combined Segments. And since I've already created all the segments I want to look for over here, I'm going to go into Combined Segments, and I'm going to push plus. And I'm going to create a new one. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with one of the segments that I already made, which is my custom audience segments. And I'm going to look here. So we have purchase intention, Air Force One sneakers. Okay, here's my first piece of the audience. It shows me how many impressions we can get here. Great. If I stopped here, it would just be Air Force One sneaker purchase intention. That's not what I want. What I want is to narrow down this segment. What this basically means is that now these people, they have purchase intention of Air Force One sneakers, but also and also they have Louis Vuitton purchase intention. There you go. Still has a ton of weekly impressions. And now I know that this audience is not only interested in purchasing Air Force Ones, but they're also interested in purchasing Louboutin. So then up here, I'm going to say combined segment. I'm going to say Air purchase intention. I'm just going to type it out like this. Purchase intention, Air Force One plus Louboutin, right? Obviously, you wouldn't know what this meant if this was anybody else doing this, but since we're doing it together, I'm going to do that. And then you could also, exclude more things. You could trim it down from here if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And now I have this combined segment that I could run my ads to that is so dialed in on exactly the type of person that I want to find.
It's so cool, bro. Love that. That's so powerful.
That was fun.
Yeah, man.
I wish I had a shoe brand like that. Maybe we should create one.
Yeah, we totally could. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, that was a great walkthrough. And one of the things I just want to share one other thing too, really quick, that might be helpful for people, because that was just such a great walkthrough. And Ahrefs is a really good tool. But just as kind of one other bonus thing to share with you guys, I'm going to share my screen too really quick. Just give me 2 seconds. But there's another site that I really like to use. It's called SimilarWeb. So one of the things that you can do on here, and it's a free tool that you can get signed up for, but it's a really great tool for additional research on like what else is out there that you could basically target, right? So we talked a lot about, cool, once you kind of like exhaust your brain and your own knowledge on what to put as far as keywords go, you could come to a tool like SimilarWeb. And all that I did here was I went into SimilarWeb. I typed in footlocker.com, right, which was kind of one that we came up with, right, for really quickly off the top of our heads. But if we want to understand, okay, well, what else beyond Foot Locker, like what else can I learn about this? If I go here and I go to similar sites, it's going to literally give me a list of a bunch of other sites that we could go to. And right here, like number 2, there's Finish Line. Okay, really cool. I can click Finish Line and then I can start doing research on Finish Line, right? And you can just kind of go down this rabbit hole of like other additional like competitors and research and things. And so you can see if you were to do this for your own offer, right, what could a site like SimilarWeb kind of expound on, right? And then you take the learnings from this, and then you go right back into what Dakota just showed you, plug it into the platform and start to dial in those segments, right? So yeah, guys, this is just a little small taste of it, but with the way that Google has been kind of changing things and taking away certain options, a lot of people are wondering right now, what do I do next, right? If I don't have those similar audiences, if they're taking away these features from me, what am I going to do? And this video, like we literally just walked you through, like this is the next step of how to basically take advantage of Google Ads. So
yeah, and if you're not testing this now, you're like, not to be like the guy that's doom and gloom, but you will fall behind, because this is kind of, you have to figure out what audiences are going to work for you running YouTube ads right now. Now, one thing I will note, this is new, right? There's been a lot of changes on YouTube ads recently. So a lot of people are seeing right now that there's a lot of bot traffic. There's a lot of people opting in and booking calls that are maybe not real people. And they're getting disillusioned. And they're basically like, Google Ads stinks now, for lack of a better word, right?
Yep.
Here's the thing. It's Google.
So many places.
They're going to figure it out. You know, like if you're trying to run it right now and it's not working and you're setting it up the right way and you're just getting frustrated, if that's you, like, just know that like it's Google. They're going to figure out the bot traffic thing. They're going to figure out how to make all of this work. But custom audience segments is the way forward for Google Ads and YouTube ads. And if you're not using that, then you're probably going to run out of ways to target pretty quickly. So just wanted to put that caveat in there as well.
Yeah, super important, man. So thank you for walking through that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this live training here in the Facebook group. If you're not in our Facebook group, please go join. We just love adding value and helping you guys out. If you're interested in any sort of topic, if you've been trying to get into ads or you're stuck on a certain thing, come hang out with us, ask your questions. We want to literally walk you through step by step exactly how to solve those problems, because we care. All we want to do is kind of give back to other business owners and learn from all of the lessons and mistakes that we've made along the way in ads so that you don't have to do the same. So much love, guys.